we're going to learn the shiur of Yud Gimel Elul, which with the Eibish's help, this is the shiur of Shabbos. And again, as I mentioned to you, Yud Gimel Elul is the Yom HaChasana of the Rebbe Rayatz, Frierdiker Rebbe, who got married in Ta, Freish, Nun, Zayin. That means this year is the 111th anniversary of the Rebbe Rayatz and the Rebbetzins Chasana. Every year. In other words, now that we're saying that when it comes to Eretz Yisrael, there's an idea of renewal every year, and the way I'm learning it with you at least, as opposed to Chutz La'aretz. Chutz La'aretz doesn't get Chayes in Eibishter, but it just goes on, the same Chayes. In Eretz Yisrael, there's an inyan of renewal. And that's what separates Eretz Yisrael from Chutz La'aretz. It descends and it shines, it radiates Me'Chochmah from the supernal Chochmah. A new and a renewed light, which is even higher. It never ever shined in the entire history of the world. To the supernal earth, which is Malchus of Atzilus, and Eretz Chayfet, which is Eretz Yisrael, Gashmi. Because the light of each year ascends to its root Erev Rosh Hashanah each year. Erev Rosh Hashanah when the moon goes blank, when the moon disappears, right? Which is Rosh Hashanah, when the moon disappears, the chayis of last year goes away. You hear the word? The Eibishter is chayis in the beginning of the year, and when the moon disappears, Rosh Hashanah, the chayis goes away. Then later, when we blow shayf and we daven, you bring down a supernal notion of new light. Higher level still. That it should shine to the supernal earth, which is Malchus of Atzilus. Those who live upon her. All of the worlds, the higher ones and the lower worlds. They get the life from Malchus of Atzilus. In other words, from the infinite light of the Eibishter. That begins the Chachmas of Neibish's Chachma, Hamalubish Bo, which is revealed in Malchus of Atzilus. That's called that it's Hachayim. Kedektiv says in the pasuk, Imcha Meker Chayim, Tafel to the Eibishter is the source of life. Be'eiracha, through the aid or the Mokar Chayim, near the aid you can see the Eibishter's light. The Hainu. That there's Eir Amer Mechachmei Allah. There's a light that shines from Chachma, which is Mokar Chayim, the source of life, and from the light which shines in Chochmei Elah, there's a light which reaches Malchus, which gives chayes to all of the worlds. And the chiddush is that when it comes to Eretz Yisrael, every year it stops and it starts over on a new level. It's those people who know Kabbalah. Each year, the Sida means the Eibishter goes away, separates. And after the Nesida, it gets a higher level of the mashal for Nesida is Adam and Chava. Right? I'm sure you know the Gemara says this. Rashi brings it in Chumash. Adam and Chava were created as Siamese twins, connected at the spine, back to back. So it just separates them. So you both have panim b'panim. Adam and Chava back to back are one, but there's no pnimis. They get kesher because it's called acher b'acher. So you separate them to create panim b'panim. So when you separate two people who are connected, you're pulling them further apart. But only by pulling them further apart can there be a yichud pnimi, can be eze kenegdei panim b'panim. Erev Hashanah, Hashem separates himself from the world, Nesira, that's a bad thing. But as a result, it could be Eschachas Achayis, Panim Bepanim, Eze Kenegdei, which is a better thing. So there's Nesira, Tzedach, Eschachas. Hashem separates to give us new inyan. This happens every Rosh Hashanah in Eretz Yisrael. Yet the Rebbe Mamshech, or Beprat is being more specific. This is not only once a year, but rather, this is true every day, that brings on higher sources of Giloi. Every morning when you say davening Shachris. It's not the same inspiration, which you did yesterday, because which went away yesterday after the davening, they're higher. However, in general, because the worlds are general. In the 6,000 years, Taka, true, every day it happens, but because it happens every Rosh Hashanah. So this is what the pasuk is telling us about Eretz Yisrael specifically. That Tomid Eini Avaya Lekecha, the eyes of the Eibishter are upon it all the time. Sheheinayim, that the eyes, hem kinuyim, are a mushal, or a nickname. La'amshachas v'ha'aras eira chachma, to drawing down and reveal the light of chachma. Shelachein nikru chachamim ein ya'eda. The raya is the chachamim are called the eyes of the congregation. So too, Eini Hashem Elokecha goes in the Eibishter's chachma. And it says also Ba'avira that Yisrael machkim, the atmosphere, the air, the oxygen of Eretz Yisrael makes a person wise. So there's a connection between chachma and Eretz Yisrael. V'ha'ara, v'hamshachazu, and this ray and this bringing down, that afshi tmidas, even though it's constant, afa bekain still eine bechin madrega achas levada. It's not always in the same madrega. Mimei eluf from the beginning of time, ella, but rather shebechol shana v'shana every year. It's a higher, new light. The light which was renewed and shined. This Rosh Hashanah, who mistalek be'ered Rosh Hashanah habal l'shosh, will go away. The Rosh Hashanah that's coming, and you'll get a new and a higher chayas. So Eretz Yisrael is different than Chutz La'aretz in this aspect of his chachos. That's why it has been a year to Eretz Yisrael specifically, Meresh Hashanah v'adach Hashanah, from the beginning of the end of the year Levada, because when the year ends and the new year begins, it's not the same thing again, it's a new year. So if my interpretation is correct, there's a fundamental chilik between Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. Hashem gives chayes to the whole world. But in Eretz Yisrael, the chayes has to do with zman. Shini azman is the shini achayes. And in Chutz La'aretz, it's not. That's why also the word Reishis is missing an aleph. And as I told you in the beginning, Reishis is ACA's Tishrei, because it's Reim, it's a hint. The idea the light has gone away. Shemistalik departs in the evening of Rosh Hashanah. After the tkiyos, which brings on a higher madrega that never shines at the beginning of time. That's such a high madrega of light. What does the Gemara say on this pasuk? Wer can Lenin? Talmud in Akach Mereshis Melachos. What steht in the Gemara? Mereshis Chasar Al. What steht in the Gemara? The Gemara says, Ei kol shana sheirasha betchilasa misasheres besoifa. When a year is poor in the beginning, it becomes rich at the end. How does Chassidus explain this Gemara? When a yid comes to Rosh Hashanah in a maimed demativ of humility, of bittul, misasheres besoifa, you're going to get rich. Meiresh Hashanah means the year starts off poor. And faked dafke, because the year is starting off poor, that is why misasheres beseifan, and it's rich, because the humility and the bittul of Rosh Hashanah is a keli for a gilui oir chadash elyon yeser shlohayim meisela. V'hu mislabish u'mistatev eretz hachayim shalamayla. It manifests and conceals itself in the world, earth of life above, which is malchus of atzilus. V'shalamata, and down here, lamayla is called eretz hachayim, lamata it's called eretz chayfetz. Lahachas is called Elam, is to give life to all the worlds, called Meshach Shana Zu, the duration of this year. So Rosh Hashanah, every year, Hashem gives a special new chayes specifically to Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael gives chayes to the whole world. But in order to reveal this concealed chayes which comes down, is Talib Ma'asat Tachtenim V'Schusam V'Tshuvasam, has to do with the actions of us and our merits and our tshuva. B'Aseret Tshuva, Vidal. What's made Vidal? Yeah, Yid, Davai, Asach Geld, gibt stock of Tzidkas Eretz Yisrael. But this again is like Kedesh has two nekudas. The first nekudas is the in Azman. Every chativ of Zman is separate. Zman starts and Zman ends, and it starts over again. And Beneget, Eretz Yisrael is unique that every year the renewal of Eretz Yisrael is not only mitzad the chayes, it's the renewal of Eretz Yisrael mitzad the Zman as well. Okay? Now I was hoping to learn the beginning of the Yersei Kedesh Tesvav, which is the Shir of Sunday. But we'll have to do it some Sunday. Yersei Kedesh Tesvav is very long. And the Eibishter himself and McKen Upland.